Hello everyone, how are you on this fine day? This is the Dinosaur Chronicler coming to you with a special video for this month called What Dinosaur Shaped My Life. This is the Dinosaur Chronicler and thank you for checking in on this very special video. Now, I love dinosaurs, and I know this topic is going to be a really big one, given on how this is my second video. But I love dinosaurs. I loved dinosaurs for a long time since I was a child, and it never really got away. It was sort of like that thing where people look at me and say, "Oh, he's obsessed with dinosaurs. When are you gonna grow up?" Personally, I think that's a dumb thing to say about liking dinosaurs because everyone can like dinosaurs. Everyone should like dinosaurs. And it just never went away. And since this month, the month of August, is very special because it is my birthday this month, I thought about doing. I thought about I thought about doing something very special. I am going to talk to you about the dinosaurs that shaped my childhood, that shaped my life. And I'm going to start with Stegosaurus. When I was very young, people introduce a lot of dinosaurs. You look at them in books, see pictures of them, and you are generally impressed by the first dinosaur you see. For me, it was the Stegosaurus, this herbivore that lived during the Jurassic period in North America and ate plants. And there was something about it that interested me, and it was the spikes on its back and the giant, what they call thagomizers on the end of its tail. And I call them spike tails which with plates on its back. Yeah, that's what I called it. I called those huge plates on the back and the spikes on the tail. When I was a child, I was filled with wonder. I was like, wow, that was so cool. And for a while, I could not stop thinking about stegosaurs as my favorite dinosaur. But soon I was introduced to Apatosaurus. Granted, at first I took it as Brontosaurus, but I later found out Brontosaurus and Apatosaurus were different names for the same species, but Apatosaurus was the first name. Has to do with a rivalry between two people hunting fossils, but that's not the topic of this video. But what drew me to Apatosaurus was the land before time, and I was very drawn into dinosaurs with watching this movie series. It started with me with the very first Land Before Time, and what drew my attention was not a spike-tail, ironically, but Littlefoot. Littlefoot is a long neck or Apatosaurus, and I liked him. He seemed to be an excellent character, very good-hearted, very nice moral example, and it was a rather very wholesome and sweet story. And that was another dinosaur that came into my life. And yeah, that you would say, what dinosaur do I like? Apatosaurus. Um, the third dinosaur that shaped my childhood was Maiasaura, called the Good Mother Lizard, and she, oh, probably a, I call the Maiasaura taught me something, and it taught me that dinosaurs were unusual. They were not the dinosaurs. The name dinosaur means terrible lizard. Okay, but And when I was growing up, I was told lizards lay their eggs and abandon their young. But Maiasaura showed me something. Maiasaura taught me something different. Maiasaura looked after their eggs. Dinosaurs looked after their eggs. They looked after their children. They looked after their offspring. They protected them and helped them grow up. That way I learned something. Dinosaurs are different. You ask a dinosaur, you ask someone what is a dinosaur. Well, some people say they are lizards. Some say they are birds. The dinosaurs are different things. They may share something in common with some species of lizards. They may share something in common and a lot in common with birds. They're actually also related to crocodiles, but they are their own thing. They are their own special thing. Dinosaurs. That is what makes them very special and really unique. And just like us humans, they take care to look after their young. It is a family, so that was another thing I learned from Maiasaura. Dinosaurs cared for family groups, and that filled me with a lot of peace with seeing these creatures as these animals as actual animals, not just the herbivores, but the carnivores as well, and that gives me to the next one on the list. Tyrannosaurus, or known as Tyrannosaurus rex or T-Rex. And this is significant because I, for a while, saw carnivores, they hurt people, they are the bad guys. But around this time, uh, with the exception of Chomper from Land Before Time and his family, because we often root for the herbivores, the Great Valley and such. But as I grew older and learned, I realized something. Carnivorous animals, carnivorous dinosaurs are not evil. They are doing the best they can. They are important to the environment. They are important to the natural world. And more importantly, they can also be heroes. Tyrannosaurus rex taught me that. When I was in my early teens, I watched Jurassic Park. And the scene that stuck out to me was the scene where the Tyrannosaurus came in, killed the two velociraptors, protecting the humans that were there and saving them. And that set up something inside me, and I realized, carnivores can be heroes too. And so I looked at them, I learned about them, I learned carnivorous dinosaurs like T-Rexes, they would look after their eggs like herbivores did. And so I was like, wow, that is when everything became more complete to me. So yeah, and who is Tyrannosaurus Rex? Well, the dinosaur who ruled the last period of the dinosaurs, Cretaceous period during North America. Very wonderful and wonderful animal. Now, the next one is interesting, and I will admit, I loved the Velociraptor. I really loved the Velociraptor. But I later learned the Velociraptor that we saw in Jurassic World, and I love the Velociraptor in Jurassic World, Jurassic Park, but they are not the correct size. This is the correct size dinosaur called the Utahraptor. And this was a story that I love here. I love that I read once when I was researching about the Utahraptor and the Jurassic Park Velociraptor and why they made some alterations, which I found rather funny. Their story was, we invented a dinosaur and later we discovered it. And that is what happened. Shortly after Jurassic Park was released, they found Utahraptor. It was the size of the velociraptors in the film. And I just thought it was funny, and I really love the way it looks. I love the human height, rather dangerous, rather powerful, and very cool. And so, what's not to like about this? But speaking of the word velociraptor, even though I was introduced to velociraptors when they were about this size and found out they were not true, I discovered the original velociraptor, the actual velociraptor, was more interesting. Velociraptors, well, first Utah raptors, they lived in Utah and the surrounding area. The velociraptors lived in the Cretaceous period, of course. The velociraptor lived in the Mongolia during the Cretaceous period as well, and they were about the size of a cat. And I thought that was pretty funny because I like having cats as a pet. And so I, just because it was small doesn't mean I did not love them less. As a matter of fact, I loved them more. I thought it was pretty cute in a weird sort of way. And so I was like, wow, just because this dinosaur is small doesn't make it any less scary. As a matter of fact, it is scary, it's adorable, it is cool. They had a very cool, terrifying life. They fought against Protoceratops and they handled various other things like the Tarbosaurus ant, which is the Chinese version of the Mongolian version of the T-Rex. And so that dinosaur, when I learned about it, I thought, wow, that is cool. And I also had a cat, so it was like a prehistoric version of my pet cat, and it was great. Now, this dinosaur is different. This is Allosaurus, Jurassic period, North America, Utah, Colorado, and Montana, and Idaho. I, if you would ask me, right, if you ask for this past several times, for a bit of a time, if you would ask me what dinosaur is your favorite dinosaur, it would be an Allosaurus. And this story is the longest story I've ever had. Around the time that I was young, I was drawn to Allosaurus, shortly after Stegosaurus. But in my naive mind, I did not know if liking a carnivore was a good idea. But it was nothing, it just faded away, and then I became introduced to Tyrannosaurus Rex, Utahraptor, and Velociraptor, and all those giants. And I was it is really hard because my relationship with this Allosaurus is it is like the oldest friend that you have. And it's like the oldest friend that you have, but you do not know it is your oldest friend until you look back and you realize it is. Because I see Tyrannosaurus Rex, I am in awe. But every single time there is something having to do with dinosaurs during the Jurassic period around Utah or that area. I will be hoping for an Allosaurus. I get really happy when they do show up. I get really sad if it does not show up. I played the Ballad of Big Al survival game. That was my favorite game for a while growing up. Um, I watched several times the DVD The Ballad of Big Al and watched it again, and I felt drawn to Allosaurus. And I think it was, well, it looks perfect. Big, but not too big. Ferocious, but not too ferocious. Looks after its young. That's another thing. And its arms look perfect. In times in which I'm pretending to be dinosaurs, I can go to three claws a lot easier than the two claws. I can feel like move, reach, scratch, move around. Allosaurus felt like the very perfect dinosaur. And I don't remember know how I was drawn to it, but I do remember I think it was I was browsing the internet for dinosaur art. Very funny, I know. And I found that a picture. I was so drawn to it that I downloaded it from the internet and I uh, added the page to my favorites. And I realized, yeah, I love that dinosaur. And I come back to it. And now I find myself thinking about Allosaurus a lot. It does have to do with the fact I am writing a book and an Allosaurus has brought into it, and I'm doing some more research to it about it. Takes 10 years to become an adult. Can you believe it? That is very impressive. And I believe they will stick with their parents up until that part. And the feeling I get now when I looked at Allosaurus now, when I realized I love this dinosaur, it was not a feeling of regret. It was not a feeling of dread. It was a feeling of the Allosaurus looking at me and saying, very happy and very pleased and smiling even, welcome back, my old friend. Welcome back. Sorry about that. I got I get very emotional with thinking about this story. I assure you, it is water. Anyway, Allosaurus is the heart, but this other dinosaur actually is a recent dinosaur. Like, very recent. Like, within, say, a couple of months ago. And even though I was exposed to this dinosaur previously, it did not attach to my interest. This dinosaur is called a Megaraptor, and and this family is found in Australia and I believe South America, and said during the late Cretaceous period. And unlike all the other dinosaurs in which I have a little bit of fact, a little bit of information, I do not have very much on this. And this is why I love this dinosaur so love this dinosaur too, and I am adding it to my group of dinosaurs that shaped my life, dinosaurs that's been with me since childhood, even though to be honest my childhood is gone quite a moment ago, but I don't really care about the specifics. Bottom line, Megaraptor brings back the wonder in me, the little childhood wonder in me of me when I was young. I, for a while, dreamed of being a paleontologist and finding and discovering a new dinosaur, naming it after someone or something, and being world famous for that. Because I love dinosaurs, that's what I wanted. I wanted to find a new dinosaur. Famous, okay, perhaps that's. Here's the thing. I was young when I was thinking of that. I was thinking it would be cool to find a new dinosaur. Wait, I would be famous because that's what happens when people find a new dinosaur. And that was a little childhood mind, but my clear goal was I wanted to find and discover a new dinosaur. But for a while, like during my middle school years and such, I thought we found all the dinosaurs there were. Megaraptor brings back that old wonder I had when I first loved dinosaurs with the Stegosaurus, and shortly after the Allosaurus, which faded into the background, then the Apatosaurus, and so on and so forth. Because I realized the world of dinosaurs is vast. We do not yet know everything having to do with dinosaurs. We are still discovering more, and someday in the future on this channel, I will probably tell you things I learned about the Megaraptor in a few years from now, and that would be quite an amazing, impressive video. An Allosaurus represents my heart. Megaraptor brings back the wonder of saying, look, there are more dinosaurs, more we do not know out there, more species to discover. And in a way, I can be that excited little boy that wants to find a new dinosaur digging in the dirt somewhere. And those are the dinosaurs that shaped my childhood and, to be honest, shaped my life. And looking back now, looking through my childhood, looking through my teenage years, looking through my adolescent years, and heck, looking into my adult years, I see all these dinosaurs are like they shaped me growing up. And it's like looking into the mirror, looking through the looking glass, and so on and so forth and beyond. And it is beautiful. Like, I love so many dinosaurs, yet these dinosaurs mean something special to me. Like, and they bring something special and unique. The Stegosaurus brought in wonder and love for dinosaurs. Apatosaurus was connected to the first dinosaur hero that I loved, Littlefoot Apatosaurus. Maiasaura showed me with not seeing dinosaurs as unfeeling creatures, but creatures with relationships. Tyrannosaurus showed me that carnivores are not evil. They are part of the natural world and they can be heroes. Utahraptor is that fun little thing that I got with looking for around. I wanted to learn a question and I researched about it and I found an answer and I still thought that species was very cool. And I still liked the Jurassic Park Velociraptors anyway. And speaking of Velociraptor, found out what the real Velociraptor was, and I still loved it, even though it was small. It did not have to be a dangerous, human-sized tyrant titan or bigger. It can be small, it can be cat-sized, and I can still love it and find it as adorable and nice and wonderful. Allosaurus was that old relationship, that old friend who you never thought about it, but you remembered and you reconnected with, and you say, I am not letting you go ever again. You are my best friend. You are my prime heart and my peace. Allosaurus is the whole heart of this whole thing. To me, Allosaurus is perfect. It looks perfect. It is special. It is like a dinosaur that I looked at and I said, if I were to be a dinosaur, I would be that dinosaur. The Megaraptor is wonder, but not just wonder for the past, but wonder for the future. Wonder of possibilities of finding new dinosaurs, finding how these dinosaurs lived, and um, and also there is that being the excited young boy who wants to be a paleontologist, dig up his old backyard, and try to find dinosaurs again. And that is a wonderful feeling to have. So in conclusion, thank you so hard for picking this video. I really appreciate it. So these are the dinosaurs that shaped my life, that shaped my childhood, and I really love making this video for you. Um, I will give you the links of my other 3 YouTube channels. The Sage of Calidor, which is mostly fantasy, the Crusader Historian, which is mostly history, the uh, oh yeah, Charscream, which is mostly a Pokemon channel. On Charscream, I posted a video on my team of Pokemon spirit animals. I encourage you to take a watch at it. My Sage of Caldor and my the Crusader Historian videos are going to have each their own video within these next 2 weeks. I really want you to take a look at them, like and subscribe, but especially love, like, comment, subscribe, and share this video and join this channel. I would really appreciate it. It would be a fine gift for me. And also, please check out the Allosaurus picture that I saw. The link again is down below. And until next time, this is the Dinosaur Chronicler, and I'll see you next time. Thank you, and bye.